What is your thank god it was just a dream moment? My dream started with me waking up from coma and discovering that I have been in coma for 8 years. My parents were dead. My brother was dead. My friends weren't there anymore. I was all alone, realizing that I have nobody in my life and that best years of my life have been wasted. This dream was different from my other dreams. This dream felt very real and realistic. Usually I can control my dreams, but I was powerless in this one. The feeling of panic, hopelessness and sadness was so strong that I killed myself. And that is when I woke up, although I was panicking a little bit afterwards and feeling that this actually happened. I was very relieved that I woke up. Had one just this morning. In the dream, I discovered my husband ducking my mom. I've had that dream a few times before, and it didn't make any sense to me. It would never happen IRL. But I realized that it usually occurred after days where I thought about her too much and remembered ways she used to purposely try and ruin my friendships and other relationships. I guess my husband ducking my mom is just the most extreme version of that my scumbag dreaming brain can come up with. My D fell out and I was like, it. Then I woke up. Going to school naked. That I was pregnant. I'm a guy, but it felt so realistic. I recently had a dream that my dog died. My sister came up to me and just told me. I had no recollection of him dying, and in that moment she told me I had to do my best to hold back tears. I was so confused during the dream because the news just blindsided me. The next morning, I woke up and saw him sitting in his little bed. It was quite the scare. I fell off a cliff and died. For some reason I didn't wake up. My dream even had a small funeral service scene for me. For the past 3 weeks, I've been having these nightmares where I am back in school, all alone, unable to find my classes, failing my classes, missing the bus, and my bullies being much worse. I was bullied a lot when I was in school. I have sworn that I would never go to a brick and mortar school again after I graduated high school. One morning, I woke up, worried that I forgot my science homework. 5 minutes later, I realized I don't go to school anymore. That was a relief. Yesterday I dreamt I met myself. He wanted me to guess the song that was playing. I guessed correctly, but he told me no and I believed the ducker. So in real life, my kittens have ringworm and we put them in quarantine, but it already passed to my dog, my sister, and my mom. For now, me and my dad are safe. In my dream, however, I thought I was safe until I turned my head and saw a huge mushroom growing on my shoulder. Ringworm is a fungus. My parents told me not to cut it off, but I accidentally brushed it off and it fell into the sink, but it morphed into a weird heart looking thing and it started beating like one. Then I woke up, and I'm still pretty sure I'm ringworm free. Dreamt that my estranged stepbrother raped me while holding a knife inside my mouth. As he finished raping me, he stabbed me through the back of my throat. I felt it and heard a crunch, then woke up. Most ducked up dream I've ever had. Just this morning I dreamt that I cut my hair after growing it for over 10 years. Was in the army as infantry, before I had a family and kids. I still have plenty of dreams where I'm going back over there and I'm just so worried about it all. Then I wake up and I'm like, oh thank god. Edit. I don't think I have PTSD. It's just dreams. I think most people normally dream about past jobs. They're not horrible dreams. Just I know in my dreams I shouldn't be back in Afghanistan and yet there I am and I'm wondering why I got sent back. Wet dream. Gay sex with a coworker. I'm not gay. I had a dream once fairly recently that I was at my aunt's house and all my family was there. I kept saying we need to wait for X, my husband, and everyone kept giving me weird looks, till they finally sat me down and said X doesn't exist. He's never existed, you're still with abusive X. I've never been more happy to wake up from a nightmare, and I often have night terrors involving the traumas I've already been through. I dreamed that I had a class in college that I had forgotten that I signed up for and missed like half the class before I remembered. My current boyfriend breaking up with me to get married to the girl my ex cheated on me with. My school blew up while all the kids were inside, otherwise I wouldn't mind. falling through an infinite abyss. Basically any time that I experienced sleep paralysis. I was arrested for some reason I don't remember, and the officer had just taken me out of the car and was about to walk me into the station. My hands were cuffed behind my back, and he kept roughing me up for no reason, smacking me on the head. Stuff like that. It got worse and worse, and I started getting really mad. Eventually I snapped, and with my hands still bound, I charged him. He fell back and hit his head against the station's brick wall. He fell down to the ground and was completely motionless. Immediately I freaked out, oh my god, he's dead. I'm a cop killer. I'm gonna get executed. The panic woke me up, and it wasn't just a feeling of relief, but like that I got away with it. I've got a newborn daughter. My wife and I have had so ducking many of these moments in the last 3 weeks it'd be hard to itemize them. Most recent one had her literally cooked alive by UV light for treating jaundice. I'm sleeping great. How about you? I dreamt my father died. It was so vivid I was physically affected for the next half hour or so after waking up. Well, my dad is a healthy man in his 50s, so all is good. Dreamt that there was a guy with a knife stabbed in the chest. Instead of what I would do like a normal person and call the police or something, I evilly stuck the knife deeper and grinned like I was a different person. Like a psychotic demon, if you will. It is one of those not what happened to me but what I did that disturbed me, and I filed it as a nightmare. That or the one when my balls fell out. Take your pick. Dreams during pregnancy are really weird thanks to hormones. In one, my little sister was having another baby. She has 4. Instead of me. I woke up super pregnant and confused. In another, my husband paid for an escort. In the dream, I was more angry about the amount he paid than the cheating. Once awake, was mad about both. Using. I'm 5 years sober and in times of great stress, I will occasionally have dreams where I fall off the wagon. It takes days to shake off the shame of it. Days. I have to tell myself over and over that it didn't actually happen. That I didn't actually let myself and my family down. That I'm not a failure. Sigh. My dad, just like the rest of my family, has blue eyes. I dreamed that my whole family was sitting in our living room, with my dad talking about something. Very quickly I noticed that his eyes are a very weird color. They basically have 3 different colored rings around the pupil. Yellow, red and again yellow. In addition, his pupils dilate and contract quickly, but not symmetrically, one pupil being bigger smaller than the other one. At first it seems that he is very enthusiastic about the conversation, but he looks more hyper and feverish by the minute. I poke my mom and say, look at his eyes. I don't like them. They are weird. He's becoming more excited about whatever. Starts sweating, and then just slumps into the sofa, passing out. My mom, nurse in real life, goes over in a relaxed way and checks on him, while I just look at him in a very confused and WTH manner. Then I hear my mom coming into my room and waking me up with the question, it's 10 past 8. Are you getting up yet? I was very confused and my heart was beating quickly for about 10 minutes. But I was super relieved when I saw that my dad, caregiver nurse assistant in real life, not sure what it's called in English, had returned safely from his night shift. The dream reminded me of Supernatural, in a scary way. Edit, wording, grammar and details. I've had multiple dreams where I've ended up crapping myself for one reason or another. A few years ago, I had a very vivid dream where my girlfriend of 5 years had died. It was extremely long and I went through years of grieving her and it was the most pain I've ever been in. When I woke up, I cried because I missed her so much. When the dream started to fade and I realized that she was alive, I cried again, but out of happiness. It was the worst experience of my life. I dreamed that I was half blind, in a wheelchair and in a zombie apocalypse, and in this dream I heard people speaking of a naked eulogy. When I dreamed it I was 7. Sorry for bad English. Just this morning I dreamed my teeth were falling out. I just dreamed that my dog died from eating chocolate. She is very confused as to why I am cuddling her. When I saw my dog save my life from a wolf but my dog died, it was horrifying and doesn't help that my dreams are always super vivid. Cheating on my wife. I woke up sweating and worried, telling her that I'm sorry. She had a good laugh, though it was mortifying. I once dreamed that I got a new puppy and took it to a new apartment that I was moving into. I went back to move my other stuff from my old apartment and forgot where my new apartment was. Time passed and I was staying at a friend's house for months when I remembered that I had left a puppy in that new apartment. In my dream I ran around the city frantically looking for that new apartment. I was very happy to wake up from that one. I once had a dream where my dog was run over and killed. I was holding it in my arms with blood all over me. Being grabbed by demons and dragging me to hell. Getting pregnant. I'm terrified of pregnancy and the dream was a nightmare too. I didn't know whose it was and my family cast me out and I remember waking up and still not being convinced. I had to keep reminding myself I was fine but it really shook me up. The second one has to be reoccurring dreams I have where I accidentally eat meat. I'm veggie. It's so heartbreaking because you feel like ashamed. It's weird to admit but the feeling I had from the pregnant dream is exactly the same as the feelings I have in the accidentally eat meat dreams. Both having the same residual was it a dream? Feeling during a bleary-eyed morning. Test anxiety dreams are the worst. I'd get late for them, not study. Study for the wrong paper. The list goes on. I dreamt my mom and dad and my aunt and uncle decided my cousin David had to die. They told me I had to do it. I got a butcher knife and chased him outside around the house. He tripped and fell and I stabbed him in the throat. Horrible dream. So happy to wake up. Also so confused. David is my favorite. Peeing my pants on vacation. Thank God I was only in my bed. The dreams where I am back with and or having sex with my abusive ex. I always wake up in a cold sweat and feeling absolutely disgusting and revolted. Sometimes I cry in frustrated relief. Luckily I haven't had a dream like that in years but the worst was when I had that dream with my now husband on our honeymoon. I'm sure it was just subconsciously triggered in some way but it still made me feel like a scumbag even though I in no way wanted to get back with him. Funny enough my new groom woke up in a bad mood and said he'd dreamed that night about his ex-wife trying to get him back. We both laughed and hugged at how ironic it was that we had the same awful dream the same night and believed perhaps we were psychically linked and joined in the dream world or some woo-woo it like that. We haven't had those dreams since, thank blog. I dreamt that I was stabbed in the side of my left thigh and when I woke up I was thankful it was just a dream but the exact same spot I was stabbed was tingling and sore for a few seconds after I woke up. Very weird and I'll never forget it. Cheating on my wife with her friend while my wife stands at the end of the bed screaming divorce threats. But I just keep going and ignoring her. Legitimately thought I was in deep trouble. But then woke up. I was living happy with my ex. Mayo that god that was a dream. Getting a god awful tattoo. I love tattoos but for some reason I have had a few dreams where I cover my entire body in embarrassing tattoos. Being chased by a bunch of zombies like the characters in Resident Evil 2 or 7. My D came off in my hand when I was a kid. It actually happened twice. The first time scared the crap out of me. I died in my dream and woke up with sleep paralysis and panicked because it was pitch black. I thought oh my god this is it. I'm just gonna float here in this nothingness forever. And then I sit straight up and skinned my forehead on the freaking ceiling. I was fighting spider ladies in a darkened old mansion. Then I climbed the bookcases as the ladies went after me and I flew away in a magic egg. D. Edit. Spelling. I sometimes dream that I wake up but instead of doing my usual routine something really creepy happens. A few days ago I woke up, played on my phone and wanted to take a photo. When opening the app I could see something like a black mist in the doorway of my bedroom. I put the phone away and there was something demon-like floating in the air. Then I woke up. I was so done I checked the doorway with my phone. Thank god there was no black mist. My dog was dying and no matter how hard I tried I never got to the vet. I was carrying her. She was bleeding to death. I tried asking people for rides, taking the bus and even walking but somehow always ended up in the wrong place. It was awful. I had a dream where my grandpa shot and killed me. I had never died in a dream before or since. but it was the strangest sensation. As I was dying I felt myself getting colder and colder until I finally died and woke up. During election night, I fell asleep and dreamt that Trump became president. I was pleased to wake up and find that it had been a dream. I was in for a very rude awakening. That I was still living at home with my BPD narcissistic mother. I woke up and had to take inventory of my current life for a few seconds. So happily married. Awesome kid etc. It was very disturbing. Just last night I dreamt that all A's I had worked so hard for had turned into 50s for some reason. I freaked out and got out of bed to check that my grades were still all good. When I accidentally ducked a frog. The dream of failing a course or a critical exam in your last semester of college, only to wake up and remember you graduated several years ago. Still waiting for it. Like come on, I've been asleep long enough. I had a dream once that I cut off the head tip of my D with a pair of scissors, then just placed it on a shelf like a trophy and just admired it while I bled. That was some weird acid. Yenu diaresis yenu diaresis o gravanu yenu diaresis u circumflexa yenu diaresis a ligature yenu diaresis e grave yenu diaresis I grave wow. More of a memory, but I dreamt that I was being mugged with a knife and I ran, but I was running in circles and I couldn't escape this time. I was dead. My body nailed to the gym wall like Jesus on the crucifix, and all the other kids were just going about their day as usual. My cat had died. She told me it was all my fault. Have never cried too much when I woke up. Every day I wake up, because I always dream that I'm left alone in a big and dark building that resembles a school, and in my dreams I can never get out. I'm tired of dreaming. They aren't nightmares, but they aren't interesting or pleasant dreams either. Also, like a month ago I dreamed that my mother died. I woke up and started crying, ran to her room, and hugged her for a long time. She had a couple of surgeries, so I guess I was afraid of something going wrong. The dream feeling took some time to wear off that day and I kept gravitating towards her. I have very vivid and realistic dreams, which is odd considering that I also have aphantasia, the inability to create images to a mind's eye. I frequently dream of real people and real places, so my dreams often don't feel like dreams, but rather things that are actually happening to me. The most recent one was me in hospital getting told I had terminal cancer and had less than 3 months to live. Was quite a relief when I woke up and realized it was just a dream. But even so, I was still quite shaken by my diagnosis for about an hour. I was just standing on a sidewalk minding my own business, then car pulls up right next to me and 4 exact copies of myself got out of the car and started beating the it out of me. I was pretty relieved to find out that it was just a dream. That my big fat neighbor died. Dude, I cried so hard in my dream. Love that dude. I dreamed how my parents were playing with a huge dildo, and then I walked in and I got angry on my mum, so she left the dildo in my room because I was yelling. Then I started trying it out. Squirted all over it and she realized that, but she ignored. Dear brain. What the actual duck? Had a dream that my teeth were falling out. Full on panic when I woke up. I was hallucinating glow-in-the-dark fish swimming across my wall. I fell out of a helicopter. I actually just fell out of my bed. I dreamt that tiny white humans like Eco from Ben 10 but 5 centimeters high grew inside my head and released themselves by making holes my skin. I woke up touching my head looking for those bastards. One time I dreamt that I went to Mexico on holiday. Apart from Mexico was actually a giant bouncy castle. I then dreamt that I fell underneath Mexico and suffocated, only to awake with the duvet completely covering my face. Ducking terrifying dream. I dreamt my entire class in school was full of snakes, like huge yellow and green pythons just lounging all over the desks. Later on I realized it was a metaphor. I was the prime suspect in a murder case. I was the only one who knew I was innocent. I was very relieved when I woke up. I had to watch my best friend and my crush fall slowly in love. Very sad. I dreamed I killed my husband with a spoon to the aorta. I have no idea what that was about. I woke up feeling more than a little sick. I had a dream where everything was just going ducking insane. There was so much insane it happening at once it felt like a Junji Ito manga. To describe it, I remember seeing people running as fast as they ducking could as it fell from the sky, and what I could tell a giant monster with one eye literally picked up a city block and used it to hit a group of people, turning them into a pile of blood and guts. Then I woke up and asked myself what the duck did led to me dreaming this. Less than E, more than grammar and spelling. This is probably going to get buried, but I once had a dream where I couldn't move and this thing was watching me from a corner. All of a sudden it started walking towards me. With each step I heard a watery squish. Once it got to me, it's climbed down my throat and it controlled me. And I watched as it killed all my friends.